Hey guys, it's Devin from Project Devo again. This week we were talking about the car that a lot of people talk shit on at all the car meets. We're talking about the car that's been overplayed, the car that everyone loves to talk shit on, but at one point most of us owned and most of us started our tuning lifestyle off of this vehicle, especially some of us old heads. Today we are talking about the Honda Civic, guys. That's right. The car that everyone or that most people love to talk shit on at the car meets. We're talking about one era in particular of Civic. We're talking about the what I consider the master class of Honda Civic. We are talking about the EK Civic, the 96 to 2000 body style that weighed about 1,300 pounds curb weight, that had over 15,000 aftermarket bolt-on options for this vehicle at any given time. This car is, quite frankly, the base of where a lot of tuners started building their vehicles from. This vehicle had multiple different engine swap options from multiple different Honda models. You could, from purchase from factory, you had either the B8, B16 or the B18C in the vehicle, as well as you could do a B20B conversion. You can do a K20A2 conversion. You can do a K24A conversion. And all of these engines would bolt almost seamlessly into the chassis without any major modifications to the chassis, which is insane because I mean, even with any of the B series engines, you can make 160 to 195 naturally aspirated with bolt-ons and some little nicks and knickknacks on the vehicle, which is a decent horsepower gain from factory. You could also gain about anywhere be right around that 200 to 220 horsepower range with a K24A2 or K20, I'm sorry, K20A2 or K24A swap. Now you get into the force induction, you can get well up over 400 with these cars. You can literally build a 10-second car for under 10 grand with some of these EK chassis. That's insane. That is quite frankly crazy that you can get almost a 10-second car for under that plethora of cash. So, and with that being said, let's get into it. Let's get into the why, what made the EK synonymous, what made people start talking shit on them, and let's dive into it. All right, guys. So basically, the EK Civic, made in 1996, hit the tuner market right at the right time, or hit the market right at the right time. The car was basically came out as an economy car, something that you could get 35 to 40 miles per gallon highway with to get back and forth to work. Yeah, you had some sport models. You had like the SI and the stuff that had the VTEC in it and all that fun jazz. But what's crazy is that in '99, with the coming of the Fast and the Furious movie and that car being used throughout the movie at multiple spots, it really kickstarted the Honda building in that time era. And those EK Civics were out there in plethora. There was a shit ton of them on the street. So you just grabbing one from like the granny neighbor down the street that was trying to sell it because she got too old to drive for like a couple grand, it was definitely possible. You could easily grab them. Parts where you could go to your local Pet Boy speed shop and buy shit right off the damn shelf for those things because they were everywhere. So like I said, they had 15,000 available parts from all major tuning manufacturers, aftermarket tuning manufacturers out there. You had guys like Spoon that were building some NAs in like the K24 platform and K22 platform that were pushing well up to 250 naturally aspirated, maybe more, which is insane. You're also getting a car that was very easy to tune. So like, and what I mean by that is you could put bolt-ons to these things NA and keep throwing shit at them with huge margins of where you can get away with it without getting any errors. Like it's crazy. For a base car to start tuning with in that time era, it was great for people because you can make mistakes and not have to worry about replacing the engine. And if you had to replace the engine, you go to the local junkyard and there was like fucking 40 of them. So like there was room for error. There was a lot of room for error and a lot of teaching in that as well. Like you could go blow up an engine one week, work your part-time job if you were a kid in high school, and in 2 or 3 weeks you could go out and buy another engine and put it back in the car and you were still fine. Do you know what I mean? Like the availability for the price was astronomical, and that's why you saw them. That's why they were overplayed all the way coming up through the 2000s into the late 2000s and like 2010 era, because those cars were everywhere. The parts were available were everywhere, and you could swap in and out of other models, power plants without having an issue. Um, what's even crazier is the bang for your buck that you could get out of this. I mean, with the with your engine swap with your engine swaps anywhere, if you had it done professionally or you did it yourself, you would range for a K series engine swap. You'd run, including installation, if you wanted to go. I'll give you like a ballpark, including installation, whether it was you doing it or professional doing it, anywhere between like $4,000 to $8,000. So you're doing a full engine swap for under 10K. Um, you're doing for built engines with forced induction internals and bigger forced induction application ranges. You're doing anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000. So you're still under 10 grand, and you have a capability of getting close to 400 horsepower with some of these turbo builds on stock internals. Now, obviously, that's on stock internals. If you want to get froggy and you're feeling really froggy, you put forged internals in these damn cars, and you can. I mean, the sky's the limit on that once you, depending on how what you want to pay to play, but you're still cheaper than what it would cost to build, like a Subaru or an RX-7 or a 2JZ build. You're still under that cost range. And that's what the great thing about the Civic is. I mean, yes, the newer ones are getting pricier. Like you go after that like 2010 range and up into the newer stuff. Yes, you are paying to play. There's not as much of a, we'll say, branches on the tree as it used to be with building options like the EK had. The EK, I mean, you could go to like any of these Honda meets or Honda car shows. You'll have 6 or 7, 8, 9 EK sitting there. They're almost all of them have different builds on them, like different engines, different bolt-ons, different turbo kits, different shit like that. It's not like when I go to Boxer Fest every year for Subaru, and you'll see 15, 30 cars there. They all have this almost the same exact build, depending if they're doing top mount or front mount intercooler. Like they're mostly the same shit. It's almost all the same parts. Where if you look at these EK Civics and the plethora of them that they have, you may have completely different engines in half of them. Do you know what I mean? So there's the options that car had is what made that car popular. And what a lot of the guys, the kids that are coming up, don't understand these days is that like they thought they seen us doing that stuff and saw us building like crazier shit back then with more, let's say, wiggle room than what you have now. And then they go buy like Subarus and stuff like that because they don't want to, you don't really want to get made fun of at the car meets for driving in a Honda. And instead of them learning the way that some of us learned, where you can make mistakes and you could, try different things out and kind of get away with it. Now they can't. So they bolt an intake onto a Subaru and say, oh, look, I modified my Subaru. Go drive down the street with the damn thing for a couple thousand miles, and all of a sudden they have a check engine light on with major fueling issues and possible internal damage because they didn't run a tune off that intake. Back then, with those Hondas, you could put an intake on it and drive around for months and not have to worry about shit. And that was the beautiful thing with that Civic generation, was that there was, like I said, wiggle room, and the wiggle room wasn't going to break your back pocket. And I mean, even now, the EK Civics, I mean, yes, if you find one in really good condition, you're going to pay for it. Let's face the facts. You're going to pay for it. But like, you can still find some of these things for under $5,000. Yes, they may be in really shitty shape, but if you have the skill, the wherewithal, and the knowledge to do it, and you can spend some time on the interwebs to figure out what you want to do with it, you can still build a decent car for under 10K and get away with it. That's what the beauty of the Civic is. The beauty of the Civic is not that the car's overplayed. The beauty of the Civic is not that the car has massive amounts of potential, because they do. The beauty of the car is that it gives new people and old heads the opportunity to build something at a cost-effective range. That's what the beauty of the Civic is. Yes, the new Type Rs and stuff like that can get expensive to build. but I'm not telling you to go out and build one of those. I'm giving you a range that you can get into at a price. Yes, they're hard to find these days. Yes, if you want one in good condition, you're going to pay for it. But if you're looking at something that you can just weekend warrior, something that you're going to go in, EK Civic is that. Um, the later generations kind of get a little bit scarce in the tuning realm, but then you also have that 2009 to 2000, I think 2000, I mean, Honda guys, you can tell me if I'm wrong, it's like 2009 range where it was more of like a flat vehicle, like it looked like more like, I call it the pancake Civic. That Civic had an immense amount of potential as well. um that late 2000s, like 2008, 2009, 2010 Civic, that car had massive amounts of potential as well, and you can get into them for relatively cheap on marketplace as well. The the Civic, yes, you make fun of them because yes, the old heads watch them get so overplayed, it's not even funny. And eventually, one of these old heads got smoked by one or two of them. So that's probably why they're butthurt about them. Because I've seen, like, I used to work with a guy at the GMC dealer I used to work with. The guy had a 10-second Civic, and I'm pretty sure he spent under fucking 10 grand to build at least the engine package. So, like, come on, guys, like, you can't argue the fact that these guys that buy these Civics and work on these Civics all the time, they know their shit. And not only do they know their shit, but their shit's quick. I didn't say it was fast. I didn't say you're gonna go out there and beat $100,000 car with it, but I said that shit is fast, quick. We'll say it's quick. Okay, I'll give them the quick. Um, and like I said, room to play. That's the best thing about it. I know this week's episode was quite quick, guys. I wanted to give Honda kind of like their little shine here. If you want to get into the viewers' rides, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I will be contacting guys. Also, make sure you like our Instagram and TikTok pages. Follow us there for upcoming stuff. I will be going out to a couple events this year. I hope to see some of you guys there. I will be probably next week shooting an episode and going into some of those events that I will be doing. And I'm going to make like a chart or whatever that you guys can easily pull up and follow. Thanks for watching this week, guys, and we'll see you next week.